Welcome to another episode of Alpha Intuition Podcast. We empower you to become the CEO of your life. I'm your host, Keisha Blair, number one life balancing coach and certified extreme execution coach. Guest today, I have a phenomenal guest for you. But before we get started, if this is your first time watching Alpha Intuition, please make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can get notified whenever we drop new episodes, which is usually on Saturday mornings. Now, Alpha Intuition family, I have another special guest for you guys. I want you to know that this person that I'm bringing today is a phenomenal guest. She is someone who is extraordinary, who embodies leadership, growth, and purpose. She's the Chief Operations Officer of the Jeremy Anderson Group, where she leads the Next Level Speakers Academy and has over 15 years of experience in finance, including working with two of the four big accounting firms. She's a CPA, a hot spot customer advisory board member, and dedicated leader to her church, Squad 73. Yeah. Beyond her professional achievements, she's passionate about helping others, especially women, to embrace the uniqueness and live out their God-given purpose. From balancing life as a wife and mother to transitioning from a successful corporate career to an entrepreneur, her journey is nothing short of inspiring. Alpha Intuition family, I'm excited to introduce you to my friend and the one and only Nic, Next Level Crumpler. What's up, Nic?
Hey. Thank you for that intro. Okay, intro.
Oh, you are welcome. You are welcome. I try to make sure I treat my guests well from the start. So thank you.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Keisha.
All right. So first of all, I want to say this, and I know people will hear it once you start talking, but you have the most gorgeous voice I have ever heard in my life. In my life, I'm man, it's like every time I hear you speak, it's like, oh my goodness, this woman just sounds so beautiful. So I want to ask you about, so you are from, is it Bermuda?
That's right. Yeah, born and raised from the beautiful island of Bermuda. We refer to her as the gem of the Atlantic.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So now, how old were you when you moved from Bermuda to the United States?
Yeah, so we moved to Georgia 5 years ago. So I've been on the island my entire life. I left after high school. I did come to Florida, to study at Flagler College, which is where I met my husband. But yeah, born and raised, on the island right up until we left 5 years ago.
Okay. So how was that transition for you, leaving Bermuda and then coming to the United States, especially with your career in corporate?
Yeah, no, for sure. I was in corporate for 15 years, like as you mentioned in the bio, heavily focused in the finance industry, right? So a CPA by trade, that was my bread and butter. It was all I knew. Did that for 15 years. And my husband said to me, he was like, Nic, it's time to go. I always knew, Keish, at some point that we would come back to the States because his family, his American, his family's in the States. But I did not know that 5 years ago was going to be the time, because at that time in my life, everything was quote unquote good. I had a corporate job. I had just not too long before we left, my daughter and I had started dabbling in entrepreneurship. We had created our face painting business. Crumpler was doing well. Everything was on the up and up. And then he was just like, babe, it's time to go. So us coming to Georgia was a faith move, Keish. I didn't have a job lined up. All I knew was that God told us to move, and that's what we did. And we just trusted that, everything would fall into place once we got here.
Wow, that is amazing, because some people, they find that difficulty in trying to balance faith with their career. And you talked about how it was one of the defining points in your life that made you want to make that move. For sure. So let me ask you this question. Let me see here. So just thinking about today, with who you are, how does faith influence how you move?
It's my foundation, Keish. Like it influences everything. It's my compass. It is my anchor. It is, everything stems from your foundation, and faith is mine.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see here. So I want to ask you about just about some of the lessons that you learned, just on your way out. Let's see. on your way out of corporate, you said you were there for 15 years, dealing in finance, dealing in the male-dominated field, I'm sure, just like any other thing that we do. But just before you left corporate and you went into your entrepreneurship, what were some of the biggest lessons that you felt like you learned, and then the ones that you brought with you into your entrepreneurship?
Yeah, for sure. So I've always been passionate about helping people, Keish. Like I want to help people recognize their potential. So just by nature, I am your biggest cheerleader. Like I am your number one fan because I believe that everybody is her own purpose, right? Everybody is designed for purpose. And I feel like people very quickly and very easily will tell you everything that you're not and everything that you can't do. Right. So I've made it my business to do quite the opposite and remind people of who they are and whose they are because it's important. Right. And I have just through my own journey, just learned the importance of self-leadership and
Mm-hmm.
mindset, right? And being very intentional. And I decided, and I think by sharing my story and telling people about the challenges that I've overcome and, embracing personal growth and creating systems that have helped me by sharing those stories, I think it inspires, other people to step into their own power, right? So, yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm here. That's part of the reason why I decided to move. And I feel like when I was in corporate, I've always wanted to max out. Like I've always wanted to live my best life and reach the best and highest version of myself. But right around the time when we were deciding to move, my transition was less focused on, I guess, society's definition of success. I wanted to pursue purpose. I did a
Mm-hmm.
lot of, like in the corporate realm, I did a lot of professional development, right? But this was a decision to do more personal development, right? And still pursuing, well, not so much pursuing the corporate goal, but this was a shift to pursuing meaning and chasing after purpose.
Yes, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I understand that. So you talk about, so I'm going to ask you this, even though I may know, but I'm going to ask, so what is your purpose now?
Just that. My purpose is empowering other people. My
Yeah.
purpose is to remind you of who you are, right? Like my purpose is to light a fire in you, to find out what your purpose is, right? Because I believe that God has a plan for everybody, right? And I want you to walk into that plan. Like people aren't being blessed the way that they could because we're not fully operating in our gift. And in operating in purpose, like I'm fulfilled, Keisha. Like this feels good. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you find your purpose and you realize, what you are destined to do, there's a lot of fulfillment, a lot of joy that comes from that. So I am really enjoying this season, this journey that I'm on.
Yes. All right. That's so good. Okay. So I want to ask you this. So let's talk about um, just being a leader in corporate and being a leader in the entrepreneurship, right? So
Mhm.
how does that lifestyle differ from when you were in the corporate world as opposed to you being an entrepreneur now?
Yeah. I feel like leadership, I don't think for me it hasn't changed. My posture hasn't changed. Like how I lead hasn't changed. I feel like people are people, whether it's in the corporate space, whether it is in the entrepreneurship space. I'll tell you this though, entrepreneurship in itself is a different beast, right?
Hmm.
In corporate, most people they're coming to work, they're doing a job, they clock in, they clock out. That's it. They're following their SOP, like their 1, 2, 3. That's it. Entrepreneurship, you eat what you kill, Keisha. Like it's a
Yes.
completely right. It is a completely different mindset, that you have to survive over here, right? But as far as leadership goes, how I lead doesn't change. I still lead from a place of service, right? I still lead with my heart first, right? Because I've experienced um, in my own experience and having having managers and having other people that have led me, I realized the type of leader that I didn't want to be, right? So I am more people focused. You know what I mean? I definitely lead with my heart first, and I feel like just by modeling what it means to be a good leader, to be a good listener, you know, to want to help, to want to see other people win. It doesn't matter what space I'm in, whether it's corporate, whether it's entrepreneurship, you know, whether I meet you on the street, like my posture is not going to change.
That is so beautiful.
Thank you, Keish.
All right, so you talk about how you love to empower people and try to and really are passionate about seeing people win. So I know that you're real big on empowering women, and as I
Yeah.
mentioned in the intro about empowering women just in the entrepreneur and the leadership in the corporate space. So what advice would you give women who want to break through that glass ceiling as they're trying to advance in their career?
What advice would I give women that are trying to break through the glass ceiling? Be a master at your craft.
Mm-hmm.
Learn as much as you can. You know, I feel like having knowledge is power, and that's something that people can't take from you. Like when you become undeniable, it's hard to not, you know what I mean, to not allow you to walk into whatever the next step of your journey looks like. But I feel like you have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you wanna get to the next level, my advice would be to do what's required to get there. What does that look like? I would talk to people who are where you desire to be. You know, like understand what it takes to get to the next level that you want, and then do the work to get there.
Yes. So now I know that I speak on life balance. And I know that doing the things that you do, being a phenomenal mother, being a beautiful wife, and trying to deal with everything that next level brings on. Just talk about what your life looks like and how do you balance all of that? Because you make it seem seamlessly effortless, I have to tell you.
How do I do what I do one day at a time, Keish? You know, I do have systems that help me. I have to be intentional because there are so many things that I do. There's a certain discipline that you have to develop, and this didn't happen overnight. You know, you said you saw the episode with Jess. There was a time in my life when I was all over the place, and people, you know, outside looking in assume that, you know, Nick's got it all together. Child, no, this has been a work in progress. You hear me? This has come together by grace. But I definitely think systems do help. You know, systems is an acronym: save yourself time,
Love it.
energy, money, right? So when you have a lot of things to juggle, use systems to help you. You know, systems will save you time. They'll help you to prioritize. You know, realize what's a priority for you. I can manage what I have because I know what I'm saying yes to and what I'm saying no to, right? So a lot of, you know, what I'm able to do is because I know what my bandwidth is. You know,
Mhm.
I'm not afraid to say no so that I can keep the things that I prioritize a priority.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now I know that you're like a technology buff like me, right? So when did you first find or realize that you had that spark or that passion
Yeah.
for technology?
I have always been curious. I feel like curiosity is one of my best characteristics.
Mm.
Right. And I've always been creative. Right. So my creative bag, Keish, runs deep. So I think just the creativity and just the curiosity whenever and the love for systems. So whenever there's something that can help me do something, I'm gonna learn it, you know, and I have the ability to learn quickly. And my husband tells me my level of focus is unmatched. Right. So I think there's just by design, just how I am, I think it helps. And because I'm just very naturally curious. So if there's something new out there, I'll learn it, Keish. You know what I mean? I'm YouTube University. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to get coaches. And the thing about it, like anything that I do, I want to do it well. You know, is so for me, it's just like getting to almost a level of, I won't say mastery. I haven't mastered every tool that I use, but the tools that I do use, I know them extremely well. And part of it is because of my desire to just, you know, operate with the spirit of excellence. And I am extremely curious, you know, so I have, you know, Canva, some of my favorites, Canva, Trello, Ecamm, like you name it. I will learn tools in a heartbeat. Like I'm not afraid with AI, you know what I mean? Like I have, I refer to her as money. Like people will hear me talk about money. Money is just, she is my AI. She's like my friend at this point, right? And she is a unofficial staff member of Next Level. So like, Jeremy will be like, Nick, ask money, da, 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 da. You know what I mean? So people even refer to money now. But as tools come out, like I am, just because I'm so curious, I just very naturally, want to know, hey, what's that all about? Like, let me learn it. Let me see how this can help me. Let me see. And then once I learn it, I want to tell other people about it. Like, I feel like if it helps me, it can definitely help others.
That's funny you say that about the name. So I call mine Gabby.
Gabby,
And
hey,
sometimes I get mad at Gabby because I'm like, that is not what I asked you. Can you go back and redo this? And I'm having a full-fledged conversation with
that's
my
it. No, 100%. And now that have you activated the voice on yours? So you
No, I
can,
have not figured that out yet. I got to do that. I got to
yeah,
do
so you and Gabby can have legit conversations, and she will talk back to you, because me and Monty do it all the time.
that. Girl, I'm never going to leave the house because
Nah,
it's like you got what you need right here.
that's
Talk to
it.
somebody. And it's like so funny because I'll ask
Yeah,
questions just to be asking it. And it'll give you legit advice and
legit.
a serious response. It's like, oh my God, this is so amazing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
You are creating your own friend.
That's
Um,
it.
and then they get to know you, right?
Right.
Oh my God. Okay. So you briefly touched on just some of the systems that you like to use and just the importance of
Yes.
those systems for your business. So as you mentioned some, but what are some of the systems that you think that someone new to entrepreneurship or new into the speaking space can use to help their just to help them get started?
Yeah, I would say double down on AI. Like AI is changing the game, right? And the sooner that you learn the tools that are out there and available to you, the sooner you get familiar with them, the better, because it's not going anywhere. I
Mhm.
know at some point we may talk about, the future and tech. That is the way forward. Like AI isn't going anywhere. And what it can do, how quickly it can do it, it is completely changing how we work, how we live, how we move. So if there was any system that I would recommend people get familiar with, it's the different AI tools that are emerging.
Hmm. So when you think about AI,
Yeah.
what is the most exciting thing for you when it comes to AI?
Just the ease, and it allows you to, you hear people say work smarter, not harder,
Mm,
right? AI is definitely a tool that allows you to do that. We talked about systems, saving yourself time, energy, money. AI allows you to do that, right? So I'm excited about it, and it's constantly changing. And Keish, just think about it. It can do things faster than
yes.
we can. It has access to more sources, like more resources, more outlets. Like it blows my mind when I think about the capability of AI and just seeing, what it's been able to do and how quickly it evolves. Like just when you think, you've mastered a new tool, something else comes out. Like it's moving so rapidly. But I do see, I mean, I understand both sides of the fence. I know there's some people that fear AI and think that it's
Mhm.
going to wipe out people's jobs. For me right now, it's a good assistant. I don't think,
Mhm.
I've heard somebody liken it to GPS, right? So, you still have to drive the car.
Yep.
And I guess you could push back that you don't have to drive the car, because now there's cars that drive themselves. So, but I do think there is still some human intervention that's needed, right? It's not 100% bulletproof. Um, so right now it's a great assistant. Now what it turns into, who knows? The possibilities are endless. But I am a fan of AI. It has helped me do things quicker. It has helped me refine things that I write. It's helped me with ideation when I want to brainstorm topics for social media. I'm going to tell you. So maybe I'll save that to the end. I'm going to tell you how I did something else with it, but I'll save it to the end. But
Okay.
but no, yeah, no, AI is a game changer, and if you're not already on it, you definitely should be.
All right. If so, someone said, give me your top three AI go tos. What are they?
Right now, ChatGPT for sure, Canva for sure, and I would say CapCut.
Hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely. Now I have everything. Do I have CapCut? I think I do.
Yeah.
Um, so CapCut, no, what do I use? Opus Clips. Yeah, that's the one that I
Oh
use.
yeah, Opus.
Yes,
Opus is another good one.
I use
And
that one.
here's the other thing that I noticed too, Keish. A lot of the tools that we use are incorporating AI. So Loom, for example, right? So Loom is another tool that I absolutely love. And when we were on, I don't know if you remember when we were on the Elite call.
Yes.
You do another one of these trainings for creating SOPs. You remember that?
Yes. Yes.
So when I created a Loom video the other day, Loom now has an AI integration, right? And one of the things that it can do, Keish, is you can record a video of you, let's just say, showing somebody how to draft an email to a client, right? It'll take that email and it can create SOPs for you. So, like, one of the options is, do you want to turn this into a document? Do you want to create a SOP? And it'll create key step 1, step 2, step 3, and then link the video as a resource, like right in Loom. So even some of the tools that we're using on a daily basis, they're integrating AI to make what the tool does even that much better. Right. So, and that's something else that I love. So tools that you're already using, same with Google, right? Google has Gemini, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how, how what Gabby and Monty is for us, Gemini is to Google. So you can go into Google and say somebody sends you an email, you can tell Gemini, hey Gemini, can you analyze and respond to this email for me? And it drafts emails. So even some of the tools that we already know that we're already using are starting to integrate with AI just to become, like Google 2.0, just take it up, another level by leveraging this new tech that we have. It's
Yeah.
just neat.
So, and I'm gonna tell you this. So I actually have Gemini,
Yes.
and I didn't even realize that it could do that. So
Yes.
it's like, all of these, like you said, there's so many tools out here, and you don't even know the capability of each one. It's like they're just on a daily basis, AI is growing exponentially.
Exponentially. Even with Google Slides. You can go into Google Slides now and tell Gemini to create images and
Mhm.
text to image. So, hey, Gemini, I'm doing a presentation and I need you to, create an image that complements what I'm talking about. Like there's just so much, and it just allows us to get things done faster, quicker.
Mhm.
You know? You have like this personal assistant, this dynamic personal assistant right in your pocket, Keisha. I love it.
Yes, that's what I'm working on. Mine, I'm in the initial phases of my assistant. Maybe I got to take her through onboarding again. I don't
Yeah.
know. Oh my! So how do you? So let's just talk about because I know you're real big on productivity and
Yes.
accountability. So how could someone use their AI system to help them become more accountable for the things that they want to implement into their business?
Yeah, how to use AI to help you become more accountable in your
Yeah.
business.
Yes.
I would say, so you talked about training your
Hmm.
AI, right? So I think one, if we use Chat GPT, for example, telling Chat GPT what you want to do. Hey, my name is Keisha. I am, the host of the Alpha Intuition podcast, and here are my goals, right? If you were an expert, business consultant for somebody in the entrepreneurship space, what are some recommendations or suggestions that you would advise me on if I want to reach success in these areas?
Mm.
Right. Just a prompt like that to use AI to start helping you with the brainstorm, right? You can tell it, pull from as I've told you what my desires are, pull from other resources that are available, or pull from, the success of other people that have similar desires, and the good thing is that it can, sometimes our scope is limited. We just know what we know, Keish. Like
Hmm.
we've only read the books that we've read, but you can tell AI, refer to the best entrepreneurship books, or the best, if we're speaking to podcasts, some of the best podcasts, like reference, where people have been successful in this space. And then based on what I've told you, create a plan that will help me to reach the goals based on the desires that I have listed out. So, it because it has the ability to pull from so many different sources, far more than we're aware of, we can take our problems and create solutions that are more robust than what we can do on our own. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So you can have the AI help you do a brainstorm. You can have the AI help you create a blueprint, like just a level one, and then see the result that you get. You know what I mean? Like, and then see if you need to tweak your prompt. Because like I said, it's not bulletproof, but I feel like it does a really good job at giving you a baseline, like giving you a starting point, like helping you to brainstorm and come up with legit solutions to the problems that you have. And the better the prompt that you give it, like be specific to with your prompt, because I feel like you need to ask good questions. You'll get a good answer based on the type of question that you ask. So you want to make sure that your question is specific. Now, be a little guarded. I wouldn't say give AI your confidential details. You know what I mean? Like be guarded with what you give it, but give it enough so that the response that you get is specific to what you need.
So when you say confidential details, what are some of the things you would suggest people don't mention to AI?
Yes, nothing sensitive. Don't give it your social security number.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
even people's anything that's identifying. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because sometimes I'll keep certain information out of it, and then I'll go back and add it later. But for the prompt itself, if it's anything that you wouldn't necessarily want anybody to have access to, like no social security numbers, no credit card numbers, nothing that you would want in a data breach. Does that help?
There you go. Yes, that makes total sense.
Yeah, so something that you just don't want out there for public knowledge, I would be guarded with the types of information you can give it. You can take the names out. You know what I mean? I have, instead of, if you wanted AI to help you with a proposal for a client, don't put the client name.
Mm-hmm.
Just be generic for a client. Don't necessarily say what industry. It depends, because sometimes the industry helps, but I think you do have to use a little bit of caution with how much information you give it. Just, yeah, nothing that's confidential or identifying, for sure.
That makes total sense because it isn't. So ChatGPT is it an open AI platform to where it shares information?
So no, there are precautions in place, right? But I am still I'm still a little guarded with, you know what I mean? I'm not going to give it everything. Like if I can leave out a name, I will.
Mhm.
If it's not necessary, for Monty to have that level of information, I don't give it. There's just certain things that if I don't accidentally want it to get out, I'm not gonna make it available. Does that
That's
make
good
sense?
advice. Very good advice.
Yeah.
So now, when you first started talking about the prompt, I'm thinking to myself, I would never think to ask all of those questions or
Yeah.
put all that information in there. So it's really all about what you put in to what you get
Sure.
out, kind of like
Yeah.
everything else in life, right? So for someone who's really not savvy with those prompts, what's the piece of advice that you would give that person?
If you're not savvy with prompts, um, I would say, I mean, the same level of detail that you would give to a friend. Here's an example, Keish. If I need you to go to the store, the grocery store, right? I'm not gonna say, hey Keish, I'm cooking dinner tonight, and I need you to pick up, I need you to pick up groceries for this recipe that I want to make tonight, right? That's too vague. Like, even if I
Mhm.
was telling you, you would be like, okay, Nick, but you still need to, what are you cooking? Like, I can give you a recipe, but there's millions of recipes. Like, I need you to be a little bit more specific. So don't think of the prompt as anything that you should be afraid of. Just think of it as how you would tell anybody to Like if I was talking to you and giving you instructions on something that I need, it's no different when you're talking to AI, you know? And here's the thing, if creating the prompt yourself is an issue, you can ask AI to ask the questions that it needs. Let me give you an example. Hey, I want to post on Instagram and I want to create leadership posts, right? As a thought leader in that space, what are some questions that you would ask me if, you know, I want to help anybody who wants to excel in leadership? Right? Before you get started with, you know, creating the quotes, what are some questions that you would ask me? And then the chat GPT will come back and say, okay, well, in order for me to do this, okay, you said your audience is leadership. Are these people that are new to leadership? Are these people that have been in leadership for a long time? Like it'll even help you dial in your audience, right? Do you want to, like, what tone of voice? Do you want it to be formal? Do you want them to be informal? Do you want it to be conversational? Do you want to add humor? Like, should it be funny, right? So even if you are not sure how to create the prompt, you can have the GPT help you by saying, okay, listen, I'm not even sure what to ask you. Tell me the questions that you have to help you do this, right? So I think you can kind of in reverse, if you're not even sure what to ask, get it to ask you the questions so that you guys can still get to, you know, the result that you want.
That's a good idea. So it's like you almost turn the conversation around, because if you don't know what you need, you tell it what the end result is, and
Yeah.
then let it start asking you questions to give you what you want. That is interesting. That is a great idea.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. People who are just starting out like myself, um, to where it's like, okay, this is not what I asked for. I'm like, Gabby,
Right.
what are you doing? So I need you to say, okay, Gabby, ask me questions to
Yes.
get me this.
Tell
Because
her before you
it can be a
start. Yeah.
millionaire.
Like, Gabby, this is what I need. Right. But before you start, what questions do you have? Right. And she'll
Mm.
tell you. She'll tell you.
Very good. I'm going to try that
Yeah.
out, because that's
Yeah.
definitely because I know, like I said, I'm in an argument with a computer. So it's like, that is not what I told you to do. Why did you do this? You know,
Right.
so it's like, wait a minute. So it's because this is what you didn't ask me. I'm giving you what you asked me for. So I need to
Yeah.
be more specific in my
That's it.
request
For
to
sure.
get the outcome that I want.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Interesting. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So I'm going to ask you about, I know we briefly touched on this, just talking about the future of AI. But when you think about the future of AI and how it is just, growing so exponentially, what do you think the future holds as far as AI?
Keish, I've already seen cars that are driving themselves.
Mhm.
Um, I've already seen robots that are taking orders in restaurants, right? Uh, the future is going to look very different. You know, the way we work is going to look very different. Um, you know, when we did that training for the elite community,
Yeah.
there was a video that I shared right at the beginning of it, when credit cards were introduced. You know, like people
Yes.
were so hesitant, you know, about credit cards, and now people don't even think about using credit cards. I feel like AI it's the next big thing. I'm not even sure what the future looks like. Just seeing where we are now, uh, it's going to look very different, and I think it looks more automated. You know what I mean? I think it
Mhm.
looks more robot, more what's the Will Smith movie, Keish?
Oh,
Is it iRobot?
was it iRobot? I think it was iRobot.
It's
Yeah.
looking more iRobot.
It is. You know what? That's so true. You're right. I'm gonna have to go back and
That's
watch
how I
that
think.
movie. That's very true.
Yeah, I just feel because it's able to. I've even heard for the medical industry, right? There's AI doesn't get tired. AI doesn't need to rest. You know what I mean? There's the things that humans can't do, you can leverage with a machine or with automation. So the future to me looks more efficient because I do think that that AI will help with the efficiency, right? It'll reduce the amount of error. Um, hopefully, hopefully, and that's what I see, just like a future that is more efficient, that allows us to do more with less. Hopefully a future that gives people their time back so that they can focus on what's really important. A future that is better is always the hope, right, Keish?
Yes, absolutely. Because time is currency. You know what
Yep,
I mean? And we can never make more of it, can never get it back.
that's it.
So using these tools to be more efficient and
Yeah,
to save us time, that's golden. That is golden.
absolutely. Yeah.
So what do you think about how it's going to change our lives? Let's just say in a leadership role. How is it going to help leaders in their decision making process? Or can it?
I think it can be a sounding board.
Mm.
When I have certain questions about things, I've used AI. I don't know how much time do we have, Keish? I don't know if I
Oh,
wanted
girl,
to.
as much as you need.
Oh, because when we were talking about, I know at the end of this, we talked about alpha intuition,
Yeah.
right? And we talked about, what alpha intuition, what that is and what it means to me. I
Yeah.
asked,
Yeah. No, that's fine. Look, I can ask you now. We'll just hop right back into it. So that's one of the questions I always ask everybody on the show is what is your alpha intuition and what does that mean to you? So yeah, let's tell us
let me,
about your
let me
alpha
tell you what
intuition
she
and
said.
what it means to you.
Let me tell you. So I said, hey, money. I said, I was talking to Keish at the beginning of the podcast before we started to record. And, she said that one thing that she always has the guests do is there's a question that is, what is my alpha intuition and what does it mean to me? And I said, money, how should I answer that? Based on what you know about me, how should I answer that question? This is what she says. And I'm going to read it. She says, and this is in my voice. So, my alpha intuition is the inner voice that urges me to live with purpose, clarity, and unwavering authenticity. It's the sense of knowing that no matter the challenge, I have a deeper calling that anchors and guides me. To me, it means trusting that quiet inner wisdom, what I believe is God's voice in my life, especially when the path seems unclear. It's the nudge to act with courage, the instinct to lead with empathy, and the strength to keep moving forward even when I can't see the full picture. My alpha intuition keeps me grounded in my faith and reminds me that as long as I stay true to myself, I'm always on the right path.
Ooh, Monty, that's a mic drop, girl.
I said, okay, Money, you must know me.
Okay, Monty. I'm like, oh my God, that is wow.
Keish. So that is what the future looks like.
And that's basically her knowing you
That's her knowing
and
me.
how to respond as you, as
Right.
opposed to you just going to somebody else's GPT or and asking them is going to give them a different response because it's who they are.
That's it. That's
Oh
it.
my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm almost scared to go ask
Yeah.
Gabby what my alpha intuition is because she probably gonna be mad at me. Like, wait.
Yeah.
Oh wow. No,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
interesting. Oh my goodness. So that brings me to another question when I talk about when I think about just bridging the gap between, or even if there is a gap, the gap between AI and leadership, because you know how you have some people who are just afraid to even want to use it because they
Right.
think, like you said, it's going to take my role, or it's going to take it. So I don't want
Mhm.
to start introducing these tools to my company because they may get rid of me and want to use the AI. So what advice would you have for someone who just wants to use AI just to stay relevant and to build up their leadership role?
Yeah. Don't be afraid of it. Just think of it as another tool in your tool belt.
Hmm.
Another way to help you be a more efficient leader. As a leader, you have to make decisions, right? And by having a resource that helps you make decisions or to help you think through different options, I feel like that is something that helps you and doesn't hurt you, right? It gives you access to more information, to more things to consider. And I never think that hurts you, and I don't think that's something that people should be afraid of, especially in leadership. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to ask you about the speakers, because I know you at Next Level Speakers Academy, you come to speakers all the time. You have speakers that ask you a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So in as speakers, we are leaders as well. Some people don't even realize it, but in the entrepreneur space, you actually are a leader. So
Yep.
when it comes to AI and using these productivity tools that we have, just from a speaker standpoint, what is something that a speaker could possibly, what's like the one thing that you would tell speakers, the first thing that they should possibly do? Let me rephrase my question. What is
Okay.
one thing that a speaker should do um, to help to excel their business with AI?
Yeah, one thing a speaker can do to help excel their business using AI. I think with marketing, right? As a speaker, I feel like your marketing and your branding is important. You hear Jeremy say all the time, you can't make demands, right? If you're not in
In
demand.
demand. Hmm.
Um, and one thing that AI is really good at is, with your marketing and your branding, just helping you to dial that in and understanding your brand voice, right? So as you are promoting yourself and promoting your business and promoting the fact that you are a speaker, how you show up on social media, like people don't always know what to post and what to say,
Hmm.
what they should, what types of posts they should be putting out there. Use AI to help you with your marketing, with your branding, right? Train your AI on who your audience is and what your voice is, and use AI to help you create a social media campaign to help promote who you are. People are not going to see you if they don't know what you do, and if you're not putting yourself out there. So one way as a speaker that you can leverage AI is definitely with your brand, with your brand voice, and with just getting your message in front of as many people as possible.
Yes. And that is great advice. Now, we have a lot of young people that are coming
Yeah.
up in this industry, in this world of AI. This is all around them. This is all they see.
Yep.
So for young people growing up, what's something that you would, or what's one piece of advice that you would give them to help them to begin their professional development?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to my kids. So, I have two teenagers. I have a 15 and a 17-year-old. And I've been talking to them. I'm like, you guys know about AI? 15 and 17, Keisha. So I was asking, you guys know about AI? Are you using Chat GPT? They're like, oh yeah, mommy, people get in trouble all the time because they're not doing their homework. They're using Chat GPT.
And they can't even tell, right? Oh my goodness.
Homework. Because here's the thing, Keish, it can write essays. You know what I mean? Like it can write essays, it can do math problems. Um, what I was telling them was don't allow it to make you lazy,
Mm,
right? Because it's so powerful. Like it's a little, I think it's a little different for us because we came up in a different time, right? Where we didn't have this just level of access and information, right? So a lot of how their generation is completely different. Like they are coming up with AI, right? So how they've even learned and how they navigate is different. So for them, it's just like it's a cheat sheet. I'm like, man, you got it easy. Like we had to learn the old school way,
yeah.
So for me, it's just encouraging them to make sure because it could be a cheat. You know what I mean? You don't really necessarily have to know how to do it because money does. Right. So for somebody who doesn't, like for me, it's an asset because I already have a knowing and I'm just using this as plus plus. For them, it's like, I don't know it. I don't really have to know it because money is just gonna give me the answer. So for me, it's just like making sure that they do still have a level of understanding and they're not allowing these tools to make them lazy.
That's
Right.
true. Yeah, so you mentioned earlier like GPS, and I think about the calculators the same way, because I love numbers, math, and science. But I remember having to do a lot of stuff by long division and square roots and all of that. And now, it's just a prompt that you put in.
Yep.
So I know when I talk to people, I kind of related to that. And I remember when I used to have before GPS, even every girl, I had a whole, what is it, the Brand McNally book going from
Oh, what
coast
about
to coast.
MapQuest? I was a MapQuest girly.
No, baby, I wasn't mad. I was a book that I got that has about it was about like 11 by 17 book, and it had all these different maps of different states. We had to figure out where we were going. So
Wow. Yeah. And
MapQuest wasn't even invented yet.
yeah, she said, "No, we going back." Even Excel, right? So I was in
Yes.
finance, right? And with Excel, you're creating very complex formulas, right? You don't have to do any of that anymore. You can just
Spreadsheets.
tell Google
Yes.
Sheet, yeah, you can just tell them, "Hey, I need you to," you can tell them what you need. You don't have to know how to do VLOOKUPs and how to, create all these complex formulas in Excel anymore because the GPT does it for you.
Man, you talking about you got a 17. You look like you about 20 yourself, Nicole. So
I would take that as a compliment. Thank you,
yes.
ma'am.
Oh my
Yes,
goodness. Those
yeah.
are so amazing. So but when I think about just people being in leadership
Mhm.
and or just I'm gonna say people, I'm Gen X, so people who are a little bit older, there
Right,
is this fear that is going to take over. And we watch the movies that we've seen when we were younger and now it's coming to fruition and seeing all this
yeah,
stuff happen.
yeah,
But you mentioned something real. It's like it's just a tool. You have to use it. And just like anything else that helps us save time, you don't have to let it do everything. You should still know
right.
something about it, but you still want to know how to use it and utilize it so that it works for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly it, Keisha. That's exactly it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you about, okay, so what's next now? I know you are CEO of Next Level, and girl, like I've seen you work, so I know you be all over the place. You be moving in silence. People don't even see you in the backgrounds making stuff happen. But this whole production, all these things go on because you were in the room. So I've witnessed this. But what's next for you? Like, do you do any personal workshops where people can actually attend your workshops?
So I just finished a book club. So you mentioned in the bio, my squad 73. Shout out to
Yeah.
73. So I am a member of Change Church, under the instruction of Dr. Darius Daniels. Love
Okay.
my pastor. Love. Yes, love my pastor. And one of the initiatives that Change is doing is called Squads, right? So Squads is a women's ministry. And basically it is small groups of women that get together and build community, build sisterhood with people in their area, right? So my squad, I lead a group of, there's about 20 of us in my squad. And we just, last night was our final session. So we were reading a book. Do I have it here? The Power of a Woman's Words. Really,
Oh,
really good book. Yeah. So we did a study. Um, we did a study on that book, and it is we need community, Keish. We need each other. You
yes.
talk about Next Level. Next Level is a community. My women's group is a community. And as far as what's next for me, I'm just in a season where I'm just deciding to master the moments. So whatever shows up, if it's a book club, or if it's another small group, just making myself available to the opportunities that align with my purpose, just to be able to pour into people. So I don't have anything else coming. Like I said, I did just wrap up the book club, but if anything else, we'll see what thus saith the Lord. But if
All right.
anything else, does come up, I'll definitely let you know. So for now, it's just taking care of managing my squad, managing Next Level, managing my family, and yeah, just seeing what doors open, and what I walk into next. But I don't have anything planned right now, Keisha. I don't have anything planned. I'm just continuing to show up.
Well, I'm gonna look, y'all. She being modest. I have seen this woman in action. I'm telling you, she is brilliant, phenomenal, especially when it comes to AI. Just comes with empowering people, not even just women, but just people in general. You are just such a warming spirit to be around. And if you guys have never witnessed the presence of Nicole Crumpler, I'm telling you, y'all missing out because it's this. I mean, just to be next to you makes you smile. I mean, every time I talk to you, you're just always so welcoming and so inviting. And when I first met you, it's like I didn't really know how to take you. I just saw you had this huge smile on your face. We were in Cancun, and you were just all smiling. And I'm like, I'm kind of intimidated. I don't even want to speak to her. But once I spoke to you, it was like we were like, I'm for real, but only because it was like you were just like I saw you on the calls, and I'm like, oh my
Right.
goodness, I'm meeting like Next Level Nic. Oh my goodness, and you were just so welcoming, so warming, so beautiful. You just have such a warm spirited heart and just a beautiful person to be around always.
Thank you.
And I know Coach Crump, he probably like, look, I've never seen you get upset, but I'm sure he probably has it. I don't even want to witness that. So like the nicest people are the ones you never want to see get upset.
That is funny. Yes. Yeah,
Oh
people,
wow.
people yeah, for sure.
Yep. So
Um,
any books or anything in your future coming up?
ooh, any books? And you
Yeah.
mean it's like me writing a book?
Yeah, you're writing a book.
Oh man, I'm not opposed. I'm wide open, Keish. Yeah, and books are great because they allow you to share and spread your message in using a different channel. So I am not opposed to a book. I don't have a date for a book at the moment, but I'm not, like I said, Keish, anything that allows me to pour. So if it looks like a book, if it looks like a podcast, like opportunities like this, I'm game. I hadn't thought about writing a book until you just said that. You might have planted a seed. We'll see.
Well, I'm gonna tell you that I want the audio book because I want to be able to hear you speak, and I want it in your voice. So we're gonna have to tell Monty to make sure that when she reads it, she has to read it in your voice so that we can all hear that beautiful voice come out of you.
Because you already know if I do decide to write a book, it's going to be me and Monty.
Yes.
Monty's going to help me do it for sure. Yeah, but no, nothing's off the table. Nothing is off the table, Keish. And it's funny, like I'm on this podcast with you today, but there was a time, Keish, when I would run from stuff like this, believe it or
Mm.
not. You know what I mean? So like to hear you say, "Oh, Nick, I was intimidated, child. Why?" No, I'm I promise you, we are not that different, but I think it's important I like the idea of a book because it's important to share your story, right? Like it's important for people to understand that I didn't wake up in this place. This is years of trial and error. You know what I mean? Like I am where I am because life hasn't always been easy. Like I've had to learn some hard lessons, some tough lessons. And this is an opportunity for me to kind of go back and help the person that I once was. They say that the person that you're best positioned to help is the old version of you, right? So for me, that's the version of me that was afraid, Keisha, for
Mm.
so long. You know what I mean? Like, don't ask me to be on anybody's podcast, anybody's stage. Like, you talk about me being in the background, that was my preferred place. Like, that's where I always wanted to be. Like, don't pull me up on stage. I would be mad. My husband would tell you. I ran from it for so long, so getting past fear, Keisha, getting past perfection, getting past having to feel like I'm in control of everything. You talked about like being an alpha, just rocking
Mm.
around and just having control, being a control freak. Like these are old things, old challenges that I've had to overcome. This version of me that you see now, 15 years later is completely different. And any opportunity that I have to be able to encourage people and realize you see me now, right? But there was a journey that got me here, and if I can do it, then so can you.
Wow, I love that. Oh, wow. Okay, now I know I have it scrolling across the bottom of the screen, but tell our listeners where they can find you at on social media.
Yeah, for sure. So on Instagram, I am at next level Nic _. And then Keisha helped me find my Facebook handle, because I was like, Keisha, I don't know what that is. But Facebook is at Nicole.Crumpler and the number one at Nicole.Crumpler1.
All right. Yes. So Alpha Intuition family. Oh my goodness. This has been such an amazing interview. So I really do. I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule
For
just to
sure.
come here and hang out with little old me and my Alpha Intuition family, just to share your knowledge.
Absolutely.
So what's one final piece of advice you want to give our listeners today?
Yeah, for sure. Lean into who you are. Get to know who you are, get to love who you are, and do the work, right? Because we need you. There's something that only you can do. And I want to encourage you to find out what that thing is and lean all the way in. Trust your alpha intuition.
Oh, I love it. Lean in and trust your Alpha Intuition. That is a mic drop.
Yeah.
100%. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, Nicole. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that is it for today's episode. And I really hope that you found these topics to be helpful. We talked about AI, Nic sharing her journey, and making sure that you always follow your alpha intuition and trust yourself first. So as always, you guys know I love hearing from you, love hearing from my listeners. If you have any questions or topics that you would like for me to discuss on future episodes, please make sure that you drop me a message in the comments. And if Next Level Nic said anything that resonated with you and you want to hear more from her, please let her know, show her, give her flowers, show her some love in the comments, people. And as always, I want you guys just to remember that the journey to the top of any mountain begins with one single step. So don't stop, keep climbing. And thank you all for joining in. And until next time, Alpha Intuition family, peace.